sends a note to the law ministry that allocation of 2G spectrum in this manner is a matter of government policy and both CAG and CVC have no power to discuss this issue. Policy matters are beyond them. अगर कोई government policy is fraudulently prepared with the idea of a corrupt motive to cause loss to the government, now CVC and CAG should be helpless. Some joint secretary in the law ministry returns a convenient opinion, yes, the courts can't go into, even courts can't go into policy, therefore CVC and CAG can't go into policy, even if it's for a corrupt purpose. अब उसने CVC बनने से पहले ये opinion लिया. This is what he thinks is the function of the CVC. And both these matters, the pendency of the case before him, against him, and his approach to the powers and jurisdiction of the CVC and CAG are not brought before the collegium which appoints him. It comprises of the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, the Leader of Opposition and the Lok Sabha. Sushma ji had some idea, she dissented. वो dissent record पे है. आप बिना ये तथ्य बनाए हुए कि this man is being prosecuted for corruption, you appoint him the Central Vigilance Commissioner. अब इन दोनों संस्थाओं की आपने ये हालत कर दी. कोलिशन पॉलिटिक्स है कि आप कोई इन्वेस्टिगेशन उनके खिलाफ होने नहीं देंगे. So the idea is, let's get a retired judge and he will look into it. Now I am completely disappointed, disillusioned with this institution of retired judges. In fact, we have taken a position as a party that the government wants the age of High Court judges to be increased from 62 to 65. I told the law minister we'll consider supporting it provided there is an accompanying amendment that no jobs will be given after retirement to judges. You have used this instrument of giving jobs on retirement and immediately on retirement, and these seriously compromise the independence of judiciary. You got a retired judge to give the Liberan Commission report. This government is not in a position to act on one word of what he has written. You got a retired Judge Justice Banerjee to write that report on that Gujarat Sabarmati Express case. He said the car sevaks have set the train on fire themselves. Any serious man cannot but laugh at that report. And suddenly you say now 2G spectrum. Now what will this retired judge look into it? In the meeting of opposition leaders and all parties with the government, I said, what are the issues? Now look at what these tapes have come out with. That the telecommunication portfolio must be given only to one particular party. Within that party, it must be given to only this man and not anyone else. कल को कोई पूरी कंस्पिरेसी इस पे लिखे या पुस्तक लिखे या कोई चार्जशीट बनाए. So the conspiracy starts with that there is a corporate lobby, there are structured lobbies. The telecommunications portfolio must be given only to a particular party and not to anyone else in the coalition politics. Within that party, it must be only given to A and not to B. So the Prime Minister is a prisoner of coalition politics, he will give it only to one person. That man prepares a policy. The policy is tailored to help 7 people, most of them real estate dealers. In the implementation of that policy, a complete fraudulent exercise takes place. And a huge loss is covered. And then you have the Prime Minister presiding for the last 3 years over the cover-up. Oh, the Public Accounts Committee. A Public Accounts Committee जो है, वो सिर्फ कंट्रोलर और ऑडिटर जनरल की रिपोर्ट देखती है. CAG is the internal auditor of the government. He deals with auditing, accounting, profit loss issues. और PAC सिर्फ जो उसकी रिपोर्ट होती है उस पर अपने पैरावाइज कमेंट्स देती है. तो हमने पूछा कि ये जो सारा इश्यूज इन्वॉल्व हैं कि ये पोर्टफोलियो एक पार्टी के लिए रिजर्व्ड था, उस पार्टी में एक व्यक्ति के लिए रिजर्व्ड था, पॉलिसी ऐसे बनी, करप्ट मोटिव ऐसे था, आर दीज ऑडिटिंग एंड अकाउंटिंग इश्यूज? देयर इज नो आंसर. नाउ हाउ कैन अ रिटायर्ड जज go into how was this portfolio allocated? It's a matter which squarely concerns the basics of Indian democracy. And if it concerns the basics of Indian democracy, the most important forum which can't abdicate its responsibility is the parliament. And therefore a parliamentary committee, which is the JPC, is the only one which can go into issues of this magnitude. अब उसमें उनको डर लगता है, JPC की अनलिमिटेड jurisdiction है, और अनलिमिटेड jurisdiction होने की वजह से JPC किसी को भी बुला सकती है. Some people have used silence as an instrument to govern. And I don't think silence will be available to them once they are before the JPC. And that is why all these techniques go to PAC, go to a retired judge, but not JPC. And the issues are of a nature which only the JPC can go into. And almost, if you look at the magnitude of the issues, it's not merely corruption. The manner in which references are made in those tapes to how cabinets are being formed. One after the other, retired bureaucrats, retired civil servants who have dealt with these cases are now employees of a lobbyist. You have eminent media personalities acting as power brokers. You have references being made to the judicial institution and the judgments, which are not very charitable. Virtually, you have references being made to internal affairs of political parties. How lobbyists will try to interfere. Are these auditing issues? Is any retired judge competent to deal with these issues? He doesn't have experience. He has a good experience in adjudicating disputes and legal issues. You can't have an eyewash. And today the magnitude of these issues is such that the only institution which is capable of going into these issues, and that's the Parliament. Now Parliament, all 800 members can't sit together, so you have a joint parliamentary committee of 20-30 members, which will go into each of these issues and pause and look at what the health of each institution is. There may be some overlapping issues with the PAC. We can live with overlapping. But this really relates to every institution. अच्छा, सरकार को लगता है कि एक बार पार्लियामेंट का सेशन सोमवार को समाप्त हो जाएगा, ये इशू अपने आप ठंडा हो जाएगा. हम लोगों ने भी तय किया है कि सोमवार को सेशन समाप्त होगा. सोमवार को सारे एनडीए के एमपी संसद के बाहर गांधी जी की मूर्ति के सामने धरने पर बैठेंगे, और उसके बाद पूरा, और एनडीए और कुछ एनडीए के अन्य पार्टियां भी देश भर में इस भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ आंदोलन चलेगा. और अगले 2-3 महीने के लिए पूरी पार्टी सम्मेलनों के लिए, आंदोलन के लिए, बड़ी रैलियों के लिए इसमें तैयार हो जाए. इसमें हम लोग समझ लें कि आज जो राजनीतिक परिस्थिति देश में है वो बहुत विचित्र है. वी आर एट अ स्ट्रेंज क्रॉस रोड. Till a few weeks ago, I used to say we have to prepare for the 2014 general elections. Today, I am not willing to say with any element of certainty or confidence that the next election will only be 2014. I don't think a government which is almost tripping by the day can sustain 3.5 years or 4 years which are left.